How's it going, folks? Recording another best ball draft here. Had an ugly one earlier today. It went bad, so gonna hope things go better in this one. So it looks like we got pick 8. Probably gonna stay away from Stefan Diggs until the Hopkins situation finishes up. So probably going with one of AJ Brown, Bijan, or Eckler at 8. So wanted to talk a little bit about getting unique with elite stacks, something I covered in a couple videos ago, where I was pointing out that, if you draft your elite stacks, your Hertz plus AJ Brown, your Kelsey plus Mahomes, your Allen plus Diggs, then it makes a lot of sense to go zero RB in those builds because those pairs are drafted so often together. You need to kind of do something a little different with them. Uh, so that you're not just drafting the same team as everyone else all the time. So I thought drafting zero RB was a really good way to kind of shake things up a bit on your double elite teams because people just don't really seem to want to do zero RB much right now. So I'll be taking Bijan, AJ Brown, or Eckler. No real reason to do anything else, I don't think. Going to avoid Diggs for now. I think there's a pretty big tier break after those 3 players. So we're going to take AJ Brown or Eckler. Because we're on underdog, I'm actually going to lean towards AJ Brown, but if he goes ahead of us, then we'll just take Eckler. All right. So maybe we'll get to do an elite build here and play out a little bit of what I was talking about. But looking back at a team I recently drafted, not the disaster one from earlier today, there's a few examples of things I think you could do with elite stack starts to get different. So if you look at this one that I did, I drafted a pretty strong secondary stack with Jared Goff, Jameson Williams, and Laporta. I think that's one way to try to get unique a bit compared to other starts. So like most of the time when you're drafting a late QB, you're going to be punting QB2, which is probably like the best way to play it. And most of like the other seasoned players will also be doing the same thing. So I think it's nice to shake things up a bit and draft just a stronger QB2, but it has to be kind of in a pretty decent stack. Like you need some decent stack pieces to go with it to make it worth your while, because you're kind of hoping to like get through a playoff week where maybe your QB doesn't really smash. Well, that's weird. And your secondary stack kind of picks up the slack. I think I'm going to take CD Lamb or Barkley here and not go with Hertz. Been getting a good amount of Hertz lately, and I have like very little Barkley because I just don't really care for him that much. Okay, we'll just take CD Lamb here. As much as I don't mind, as much as I would like to get a share of Barkley because I haven't got much, this pairing is just like much harder to come by because we needed CD Lamb to fall quite a bit to get those two together. So yeah, getting back to this. So yeah, we had our Hertz, AJ Brown, Kenneth Gainwell as our Eagle stack, and our secondary stack's like a pretty strong Detroit stack with Goff, JMO, and Laporta. One of the things I like about doing it with Goff, pairing Goff with one of your elite quarterback stacks, is that you can draft Jameson Williams and sort of buy back some of the ADP you've lost by paying up for quarterback 2, right? Because once you hit the playoff weeks, Jameson Williams all of a sudden like is worth a lot more than this 104 pick. If he wasn't suspended, he would probably be going between Christian Kirk and Marquise Brown. So that's why I kind of like Goff as one of the guys to do it with, because Jameson Williams. So like I said, if you make it to the playoffs, now you're kind of buying back some of that ADP that you've spent getting a stronger QB2. And just to point out, this is not something I'm getting carried away with, right? Like, it's still better to build your elite QB teams with a punt QB2. But, like, everyone knows that and does that. So that's why I'm kind of, like, into mixing it up a bit and trying out some with a stronger QB2 and stronger, more importantly, stronger stack there. I was wondering why Kelsey wasn't on the board when I picked AJ Brown. It's because for some reason I had tight end switched off. That was weird. So I might have taken Kelsey with my pick one if that wasn't the case. But I mean, no big deal. Not a big deal. AJ Brown and Kelsey for me. I have Kelsey actually ranked one spot behind AJ Brown, but because of ADP, sometimes I'm interested in taking it the other way. We have no Baltimore pieces yet. Could take Andrews or Lamar. Prefer to do it when I already have. Just take Andrews. See, now it didn't matter that we had the tight end unclicked when we took Kelsey. But I kind of prefer to take Andrews if I already have like a Waddle or a Tyreek or whatever. But I don't know. Andrews is a pretty strong play. There gets to a point where just like it's fairly beaten down, and as far as running back and wide receiver goes, and then Andrews and Lamar just kind of tend to be the best guys on the board. Would love if Lamar gets back to us. I have zero expectation of that. It just doesn't happen. So there he goes. To be expected. So the nice thing is we could still just kind of, get like a late Dolphins running back or something like that to go with Andrews. Nothing super interesting looking like for as far as stacking goes right now. Might just take one of the ADP values, I guess. Just to try to build in some uniqueness that way. But nothing on this board is exciting to me at all. The Amari Cooper drop is like very minimal, so it's not even that exciting. All right. Well, Calvin really drops at least like 9 spots or 8 spots, 8 to 9 spots. So at least that's somewhat interesting. We'll do that. Could open us up for a T-Law build, which would be cool. So we got T-Law and Dak on the table. Obviously, AJ Brown and Mark Andrews quarterbacks are already gone. Not sure who I would have taken if Ridley was gone there, because I don't think that the ADP value on Cooper was so great that it excited me, but I might have just taken Cooper anyway. All right, going back to this team I drafted the other day, another thing that I've been doing to try to get a little bit of uniqueness in these elite stacks is if you can get a mismatch elite tight end, like an Andrews or a Kelsey, when they're with, Allen or Hurts instead of, Lamar or Mahomes. So, I don't think that people are going to want to spend 2 of their first 3 picks on a quarterback and a tight end if those 2 players don't correlate. But I think, Kelsey and Hurts, Kelsey and Allen, Kelsey and Lamar are all still, quite reasonable 2 out of 3 picks. People just don't want to do it because they don't want to spend 2 of their first 3 picks on uncorrelated tight end and quarterback. So I've kind of been mixing up, the tight ends with elite quarterbacks a little bit to try to get unique that way. But obviously, then you can't use too much draft capital on running back when you do that, or else you just get too far behind a wide receiver. Could go with Miles Sanders with our pick. Try to set up T-Law coming back. It's kind of interesting to me. Fortunately, can't take Kittle. Taking a wide receiver would obviously be fine if we didn't really want to do the Miles Sanders thing. So either going to take a wide receiver or Miles Sanders here. I suppose I'll take Miles Sanders. This way, if T-Law goes before our next pick, then we can just pick a wide receiver. We're not behind a wide receiver, so we're really only paying for this stack if it's what we want. So obviously this is going to be a 2 tight end build. There's definitely a chance that Lawrence goes before us. So like I said, then we're just going to pivot to wide receiver. The only way I wanted to have picked like running back and quarterback is that they both are part of like a main correlation for us. Everyone that has to pick before us at this point has a quarterback. So in theory, Lawrence should make it to us, but you never know in these draft rooms. All sorts of craziness happens all the time. Probably look at Ayuk or Lockett or Hollywood if Lawrence goes. Got Hollywood, who correlates with AJ Brown, so I guess I would look towards that. It's going to take either Trevor Lawrence or Hollywood. We could make a mini correlation out of Miles Sanders and Calvin Ridley and just take Hollywood. I think I'd rather just take Trevor Lawrence, though. Maybe reach for Rondell later or pair up Mark Andrews with Trey McBride or something like that. So I'm going to be a little behind the 8 ball at wide receiver, unfortunately, because we've taken one of each other position. So that'll be a little rough. Might look to get Zay Jones later. It's going to be tough to get Evan Ingram because I don't want to use that much capital on 2 tight ends between Andrews and Evan Ingram. So maybe we'll just hope to get Zay Jones later. He's like a little expensive for how good he is one of the problems. But alternatively, I think Tank Bigsby will catch most of the passes in the backfield for the Jaguars, so we could look to get Tank Bigsby later on. So we can kind of throw him in the queue if we want, because that's something I want to always think about later on. 154-ish. So some of the times when I have Trevor Lawrence in this type of build, I might look to grab Dak as well and have 2 strong quarterbacks. That's not going to be something I'm looking to do in this one. Reason being because, we've already spent on Mark Andrews. So like say I didn't have Mark Andrews and I had a wide receiver, then I might be interested in getting Dak. But like at these onesie positions, I want to be like careful of how much capital I'm spending on them in total. Mainly because on Underdog, getting wide receivers is like fucking impossible. So be interesting if the wide receiver I end up with is Brandon Cooks. If then that changes my mind to want to go with Dak then. We've got Dameon Pierce like a million picks past ADP. Probably not something we can afford to do. Yep. They just start to get destroyed. All right. Oh, we'll take Brandon Cooks. A little correlation to go with our CeeDee Lamb. Might look to grab Laporta as our tight end too. He's not like too crazily priced, and would be a comeback for our Dallas guys because I guess there's some chance we could still get JMO still too. Oh, David Montgomery's still on the board as well. Interesting. Certainly not going to take Dak, I don't think, with our next pick. Might be interested if he makes it all the way back to us again. I imagine the Pollard person will probably take Dak, though. So I kind of have my eye on Zay Flowers, Bateman, David Montgomery. David Montgomery goes. So I guess we're just going to take another Baltimore piece. So we're building up some team stacks that are nice, assuming that we get one of those two, which might not happen. What do I do if both of them go? I guess just take the ADP value on Isaiah Pacheco and hate life. Wow, JMO goes already. That's crazy. So not going to take Evan Ingram for the Lawrence stack. Going to take one of these Baltimore wide receivers because I just think there's a monster teardrop after them. Go with Flowers this time just because Bateman's a little easier to get. I also sometimes go Bateman over Flowers if I've already invested in one of the other rookie wide receivers like Addison or JSN as well. So this is going to be probably a 2-6-8-2 build. Don't really see how we end up on anything else. Start looking at running backs with our next pick. If somehow Dak was to make it back to our next pick, that would be pretty cool, but I don't really expect that to happen. A-Chain would have been a guy that would have been nice to get with our Baltimore players, but that's not going to happen. So it looks like we'll maybe look to get Mostert or Jeff Wilson later and create like a game stack without the quarterback there. Like I said, as far as Detroit goes, for our Dallas guys, it's rough. The Detroit guys are just all really expensive, so Laporta's really the only one left. And he is a player I would have some interest in. Where do I have to take Zay Jones if I actually want him? Probably going to have to wait and see if he makes it to 128. So I'm not going to pay more than that for him. Surprised Bateman is still available. And Javonte. I think we might actually end up with Dak, even though I said that I wasn't going to do that. Because these guys both already have a QB and don't have stack pieces for him. So the reason why I said I wasn't going to do it is because I didn't, expect to be able to get him at 104. But if he's available at 104, then I'm in. If he goes, I would tempted just to take Bateman, but I would have too many Baltimore pieces then. So I guess we'll be kind of happy to draft Dak here. Probably interested in drafting Zay Jones if he's on the board the pick after our next pick. So I'm pretty sure we have to take a running back with this next pick. I don't really think we'll have anything that correlates. So maybe we'll keep in mind some sort of future correlation we would like to open up. Or just ADP values. Damian Harris is a nice guy for opening up later correlation. James Cook is also on the board from Buffalo, but James Cook is a guy I almost never take. Does not excite me at all. Khalil Herbert's tough because there's like no late Atlanta pieces other than Matt Collins. I have like 40% Damian Harris, so maybe I take the like 20 ADP slide on James Cook this time to kind of shy away a bit from Damian Harris. Wow. Damian Harris hopping up there. I don't have the choice, so that's kind of cool. In a way. So it's James Cook or P. Ryan. I mean, I love P. Ryan. I have way more P. Ryan. What pick is this? 113. It's just such a massive ADP value on James Cook. I almost take no James Cook, so sure, I'll take one here. Definitely going to do 6 RBs. We could even do 7, 2, 7, 7, 2 if we wanted to, but I'm not too sure that that'll be 100% necessary. Would like to get Laporta as my other tight end, but it's really hard to target like one specific person in a range. But that would be cool, just to have something to come back with our Dallas stack. Other players that we want to keep in mind, we have interest in are Mostert and Jeff Wilson. So we're either going to do 6 running backs, 8 wide receivers, or 7 and 7. We'll definitely be doing 2 and 2 for quarterback and tight end. So yeah, we pretty much discussed everything I wanted to discuss here about, sometimes using a more expensive secondary stack with your elite quarterback. Like I said, I think 8 out of 10 times I'm going to be punting my secondary stack with my elite quarterback and grabbing like a Ritter stack, a Howell stack, Kenny Pickett, like people like that. But I do think once in a while it's worth mixing in just like, so you get kind of like a different construction by paying up for your secondary stack. We are 3 picks away. Very, very interested in Khalil Herbert and Keandre Miller. I guess I could just take Roshan, so sure. Double Z attack. There goes Keandre. There's Gallup to set up the triple stack. I don't really want to do that. See if we get wrecked here. All right, we did not get wrecked. So when I made the Zay Jones pick, I was really hoping one of Keandre or Roshan Johnson made it back to us. One of them did, so that's nice. Could take a Patriots wide receiver at some point to kind of be a mini game stack with James Cook. There's Mac Hollins, who could be a mini game stack with Roshan. Mostert rolls off the board. I'd like to get 2 of our 3 players in our queue. I'm not sure how super realistic that is. So we have the Baltimore double with no quarterback that we'd like to get a Miami guy. Same with our big Dallas stack that has a quarterback. So I think I'm going to prioritize Laporta if he makes it to us. We don't need QB lit up anymore. Seeing as I got Zay Jones, I can definitely live without Tank Bigsby. Do you think there's a good chance Laporta goes before our pick here, even though we're only 6 picks away? Tight end just gets pretty hideous, and at some point, if that happens, then I'll probably look to Rondell goes pretty high here. If we lose Laporta here, I'm probably going to look to try to get Trey McBride later, because Trey McBride would be game stack with AJ Brown for week 17. Still some nice running backs on the board, too. I wonder if we should forego Laporta. Go for McBride. The only reason why I don't really want to do that is because of Dallas being a main stack for us. Probably the main stack for us. So tough. Well, Jalen Warren goes, who was one of the people I was going to consider taking. So do that. Laporta thing. 8 picks above ADP, but I'm perfectly fine with that. I don't think he was making it to our next pick. A lot of these teams with 1 tight end would probably consider taking him as the second stopping. So. I'll probably take Jeff Wilson if both of those players are still on the board. Kind of annoying that one of the best picks still on the board for us is Foreman. Because I definitely don't want to take Foreman when I have Roshan Johnson. I forget that Foreman goes so much later on Underdog than DraftKings. So hoping to either get Algier because he's a week 17 game stack with Roshan, or Jeff Wilson, because we have Zay Flowers and Mark Andrews. So I would be pretty happy to get either one of them. If both are off the board, we're in deep poop, because there just isn't anything else that's interesting for me on this board at the moment. I'd probably just have to take a wide receiver because of that. So ADP value versus we have a little bit more of a game stack. I'm going to take Jeff Wilson here for a couple of reasons. One, we have a little bit stronger of a game stack with Zay Flowers and Andrews than we do with just Roshan. Reason two being we are like pretty weak at running back, and we might need help early in the season. I think Jeff Wilson is way more likely to be involved largely early in the season than Algier. Algier is basically like only going to be involved if Bijan's hurt. I mean, he'll be involved, but like not useful for fantasy. Be getting a lot of empty carries. So I'd be pretty happy to go 2-7-7-2 or 2-6-8-2. Running backs are kind of fugly. Can't lie. We have like a nice running back 2 in Sanders, and then some poop. Not total poop, but guys that can do stuff but are not exciting. All of these interest me for different reasons. Not gonna lie, if Foreman makes it all the way to our next pick, I am going to consider taking double Chicago running back, which is something I almost never do. But I also don't mind through with the same bye week if we're going to go 7. But I'm just kind of hoping someone takes Donta Foreman before me. And kind of look at wide receiver too and figure out who we're going to grab there. If we're only taking one more wide receiver, I would like it to be somebody fairly strong. There's like massive ATP values in a few of the guys at the top of this board, so maybe we buy back some of that. I guess Chark fits part of our game stack with our Jaguars. So I have my eye on one of Chark or Hyatt here. All right, we don't want Chuba. Got Miles Sanders. All right, Foreman goes. Gonna take Hyatt or Chark. Prefer Chark because he goes with our game stack. Nice. So we could be done at wide receiver if we want. I think that's how I'm leaning here. Let's go with the 2-7-7-2. We have AJ Brown, so probably lean Gainwell over Jerome Ford here. Love it if I could take Chuba, but we have Miles Sanders, so it doesn't really make sense to take Chuba. I also have like basically most of my teams that have Trevor Lawrence have Chuba, and only a couple have Miles Sanders. Miles Sanders is not a player I take very often. So yeah, I don't really see a reason to really select another wide receiver in this draft. Slightly annoying. We have through bye week 7 guys, but whatever. Not that big a deal. Definitely think we need the help at running back more. Kind of focus in on Jerome Ford or Gainwell. I think Jerome Ford has quite a bit more upside as far as like he only needs one thing to happen to kind of hit. I'm actually going to take Jerome Ford and forego the mini correlation with AJ Brown here just because I feel like Jerome Ford is a bigger swing and we need a bigger swing with this room. Like if Nick Chubb goes down, Jerome Ford's going to be awesome, and if one of the Eagles running backs go down, like we don't know what's going to happen. Like it could still be Gainwell in some sort of weird split with Boston Scott or Rashad Penny or Swift or whatever's going to go on there. So another pretty decent cut to take is Leonard Fournette. It's Kareem Hunt. I don't mind Clyde. I don't mind Zach Evans. Insane value on Donovan Peoples-Jones available out there. Did get Chark almost 30 picks past ADP, so that was definitely nice. Donovan Peoples-Jones is still on the board when we pick. It would be tempting. Got like 45 picks of ADP value. I wouldn't hate it. Two picks left. Gonna take Fat Len here. Like I said, with our group, we need to take some swings for the fences at running back, and Fournette, obviously, if he winds up in the right position, can have like a pretty big year, so it could be a huge one for us. I do think that we now have enough firepower at running back that, like, if somehow Donovan Peoples-Jones makes it back to me, like, and I'm getting 1,000 picks of ADP value, it's certainly worth considering. Gus Buscos. I do like Clyde quite a bit, though. I think Clyde still has a decent amount of upside. I think he just needs one of Pacheco or McKinnon to get hurt to be relevant. In the games where he's played like 50% of snaps, he has like a 25% spike week rate, which is pretty insane. Obviously, I don't expect him to start the season getting that many snaps, but he's off the board. Donovan Peoples-Jones does go. There's Deuce Vaughn that could loosely correlate with Dak. I've not taken a Deuce Vaughn share yet. Don't really think there's any landing spots for Kareem Hunt where it all of a sudden becomes all that interesting. Don't want him. All right, I'm going to go with Keontae Ingram here. We have A.J. Brown, so week 17 correlation there. He's probably just a injury to Connor away from having a massive workload. So, sure, I'll give a shot to Keontae Ingram. So we ended up with Lawrence and Dak. That's pretty awesome for quarterbacks. Got some decent ADP value on Dak. Massive value on James Cook, who doesn't excite me at all here. So other than that, we pretty much paid for what we got at running back. Some good correlations with Miles Sanders and the Trevor Lawrence stack. Wide receiver, I tend to prefer to have 8, but I think the way this draft worked out it was right to only take 7. So, we paid a decent price for our top 5. Our top 2 are our top 3 picks. No, sorry. 3 of our top 4 picks were wide receivers. We got pretty good ADP value on Calvin Ridley. We got ADP value on CeeDee Lamb. We got monster ADP value on DJ Chark. And then at tight end, we're looking good. So overall, I think this is a really good team. I'd give us like an A for quarterback. Yeah, probably a B- for running backs. At least we have 7, but it's not an exciting group. Probably would give us a B+ for wide receivers. This group had 8. It would be, an A. But at 7, probably just a B+. And I'll give us an A at tight end, since we have Mark Andrews and a non-dead body second tight end. Well, hope you enjoyed this one. Thanks for watching, and good luck in your drafts, folks.